Hello, philosophers. I'm Chico. Welcome to the Philosopher's Classroom, where we consider something from the Philosopher Show in a little more academic detail. We've been talking about predication. What is it that makes it true when I say one thing is a kind of another thing? I say Chico is human, right? What is it that makes me human? And I said in the episode, we might say it's the stuff that I'm made out of that's in a particular form, and we can ask the same question about that stuff. What makes it that kind? And we can all eventually get down to the smallest stuff that makes me up, electrons, right? And we could say it's that I have electrons and that they're in a particular form. They're in a particular shape. And I said you can ask the same question about the electrons. What makes them the kind of a thing that they are, electrons? And a neat and tidy answer seems to be, well, they have a specific charge, right? A number. And they have a specific mass, maybe another number, right? And that's all that there is to them, right? And when I ask, well, what makes a charge the kind of a thing that it is? Oh, it's just that number. Well, that is an idea that goes really all the way back to a philosopher named Pythagoras. If you've ever heard of the Pythagorean theorem, here's your man, right? This player was a mathematician, philosopher. He even had his own weird cult. Where they wouldn't eat beans. I think they wouldn't eat beans. Not that they would eat, like make them holy or something. I'm pretty sure they would not eat beans. Magical fruit. I can't remember why it was, but they had some bizarre idea. But Pythagoras believed everything was made out of numbers. And that could be a very tempting view when we look around and we see that everything seems to follow, mathematical rules, mathematical equations and stuff, right? Physics is just basically the discipline of meting out these different mathematical descriptions of the world, saying this is how this works, description. So we might want to say, well, yeah, it seems like everything is made up of numbers. Unfortunately, I think this isn't going to make much sense. When I first heard his view, I remember I was reading Frederick Copleston's book. Frederick Copleston, this philosopher made man, like he had like 9 or 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know, a whole lot of books, right? History of philosophy, and he covered almost everything. And when I read it, when he was talking about Pythagoras, I thought, wait, this is what I pictured. I pictured like, what is he saying? Like my chair is made up of like, I pictured like a 1 and a 2 over here and a 3 over here. Like, what does that mean? And that just sounded bizarre. But of course, that's not what numbers are, right? The little 1 or 2, those are symbols that represent numbers. Those aren't the numbers themselves, right? Numbers also aren't physical things, right? I mean, you could show me like, what is 4? And you could say like, this is 4 right here, right? But really what you're doing is you're showing me an example of 4 things, but not of 4 itself, right? These are 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, but if these were what 4 was, then these could not be what 4 is, These could not also be 4, because this is 4, right? That's not what 4 is. So numbers don't make up things in that way. Really, numbers as quantities, we can call them quantities, don't make sense unless they're quantities of something, right? When you say I have, a chair that is 4 feet wide, 4 feet wide is nothing in and of itself, right? It's 4 feet of wood or something like that. That's really the only thing that makes sense. So, if we were to say an electron is nothing but these 2 numbers, those numbers have to refer to a quantity of something, right? A quantity of charge, a quantity of mass. And the real question is, what is that stuff we're talking about? And once we get to that question, now we're asking the kind question again. What makes it the kind of a thing it is, charge or mass or anything like that? So unfortunately, things can't just be numbers, but that would be a nice and clean solution. There was another philosopher, W.V.O. Quine, who I think he came to some kind of similar view as Pythagoras. Really austere, right? Everything is just numbers. Numbers need some meat on the bones, or else they wouldn't be, they wouldn't be things like that we see in the real world.